Hey Buddy Fighters, today we're having a look at some Drametal cards and of course the new Katana, Lost World, and Blood Dragons. I'm going to cover a few things before we start because, I don't know, I feel like this is more of a Buddy Fight news video. Anyways, Bushiroad right here on their website said that they caught a judge and some stuff that they don't want going on at events and basically banned him or her. So basically, that happened. Bushiroad's trying to be strict. They also updated the Buddy Fight website, as you can see or have already seen. And of course, they're also trying Buddy Fights on their official channel, which haven't exactly gone the greatest. I know I'm not the best at that, definitely. But they definitely could be doing better, and hopefully they take back some feedback or ask around, or I don't know, maybe send me an email. I'm totally up for it. Anyways, let's get back to having a look at some of the cards. So first off, let's cover Drametal. Now, Drametal has this crazy new ability called Oppress, and I'm sure you've seen it in the Buddy Fight anime already. Newest episode, Ace, I believe was episode 15. Anyway, we have Lost Knight, NERO, Lance, Star Dragon World, Size 1, Drametal, Lost Fader. So, it has the special Oppress video. Oppress. Basically, what it does is it allows you to pay 1 gauge and take over the left or right of your opponent's field. And once it's put on the area becomes an oppressed area. And of course, because it's an act, you're not using it from your hand. Obviously, you have to call it first. So you have to pay the 1 gauge and top card deck into soul. So it's really powerful because if you take the left and right and have your entire field full, you're essentially going to be having 5 areas, which is 2 more than you normally should, and even more than the Chaos somehow. You know, the Chaos somehow got their flag, and that was absolutely crazy. But anyways, we have at the end of your turn, if this card's in an oppressed area, deal 2 damage. I'm sure you already know what it does, so I want to talk about Oppress. So first off, some people are freaking out over Oppress because you can't put monsters on it, you can't do whatever, but because it's still your opponent's field, you can still use destruction effects, you can still use spells that nuke the opponent's field, and they will still hit the oppressed area. Of course, you can still attack it like Subaru showed in the anime, and lots of different stuff. And of course, sometimes this can be a misadvantage, especially for field nukes. For example, Dragon's Breath, even though no one really plays it. But hey, maybe people might sub it in or put it in their side deck or something, I don't know. But still, nuke your entire opponent's field. If they got 5 monsters, boom, you're dealing them 5 damage. But yeah, field nukes and really nullify abilities as well, because so far we haven't seen anything that gives them immunity to destruction or return or nullify their abilities yet, but we probably will see something. Anyways, so you already know what this does. Let's go over some other stuff. We've got Bishop right here that has the exact same ability of Oppress, and of course 1 gauge as well. And he doesn't have the best of stats, but he has this really powerful ability. If you have another oppressed area in your field, all monsters in your field get power plus 2000 and defense. And this, of course, includes the oppressed area. So if you got 3 of these guys, or maybe 4, you're going to be getting a 12k or 15k buff in attack and defense, and that is really great. Now, first off, we haven't seen any Drametal have any double attack or triple attack yet, even though we do have Grandmaster Kane that stands. So I wouldn't freak out too much, but this can lead to some OTKs. I've seen people trying to do Shining Punisher, and Star Dragon World has a lot of crazy stuff that you can test out. Go on BFA or whatever. There's an unofficial update with these cards. But yeah, it's definitely something we're going to have to wait to see. I don't think it'll necessarily become tier 0 and be completely busted like how people are freaking out with Lost World when it first got revealed. But it's definitely a strong deck to be sure, and that buff is really nice as well. But again, Bishop doesn't have Soul Guard. We've got Argento Lance as well, Oppress, with some not so great stats either. So, I mean, that kind of hurts the card and doesn't have Soul Guard, but it's got that great ability at the end of your turn. If this card is in an oppressed area, you gauge, gain a life, and draw a card. So really solid card. Of course, we have Grandmaster Kane, which Saiji used in the anime already, so we already got that card. You rest it. Stand a chosen card. If it's on an oppressed area, you get to burn your opponent for 1, and it has no call cost or cripple cost at all. But again, not having that immunity is definitely a big weakness to Drametal that we've seen. Again, we don't have all the cards out, so I can't say it. Tokyo Gambit. I'm going a bit fast here. So, return all monsters from field to hand. We currently don't have their main resource monster or spell yet that they can reuse, but I'm assuming that they're going to get one. But again, gauge and draw for each of your oppressed areas, so you get to gauge to draw to if you own 2 oppressed areas, which is really great. And of course, returning monster from field to hand is great because you can reuse effects, etc., which is great. Of course, we also have this card, King Rosso SCEPTER. So basically, what it allows you to do is if you have an oppressed on your field, is reduce its size by 2, and of course it's got Soul Guard. It gets critical +1 for each of your oppressed areas, so it can go up to 5 critical. And of course, as the act, return a monster in opponent's field to hand. Now, because it says opponent's field, you can't return from your own field, unfortunately. That's kind of what Gambit and the new Tokyo Gambit is for. But what you can use this to do is, for example, your opponent has a Galaxy F formation set up, return their left to their hand, and then you can oppress that left area and take it from them and just be an absolute just jerk to Astro Dragons, because this is really just an absolute slap to Astro Dragons in the face. So yeah, definitely an interesting card, and hitting your opponent for 5 crit on the first turn is pretty crazy and can definitely lead to OTKs as well, because Shining Punisher is a thing, and who even knows what kind of crazy stuff people are going to come up with this. But yeah, so that's insane. And finally, the last spell that we have for Drametal, Saiji Kido Defense. So counter use one of the following two. Choose a Drametal on your press area. For this turn, if it would be destroyed, it means on the field. Pretty self-explanatory. If they try to destroy it, you know, just counter in response. And of course, counter put a Drametal monster in drop zone into your hand. So definitely being able to reuse cards if they're destroyed by your opponent is really good. And of course, because it's your field, when the card's destroyed, it goes to your drop zone, not your opponent's. But again, we're going to have to wait for some more rulings on that. But I think it's definitely a strong deck, and maybe if you enjoy the playstyle, go for it. If you think it's cancerous, well, we're going to have to wait and see. It is definitely going to be an annoying deck to play against, I'm not going to lie. Especially if they take both your areas, or just straight up just OTK you. But, I mean, who knows? We're going to have to wait and see. So we got lots of other great promos and other reveals, but I want to go down here to Bladedancers. So let's talk about the first reveal we got from KUROGANE, which I didn't make a video from. We got this like weeks and weeks ago. We've got Bladedancers, STEELFRAME, SWORDSMAN, KUROGANE. So I'm sure you've already seen the anime, but really strong ability that if you have an EXCELBLADE that's in stand position, destroy a card in your opponent's field, you get to gain 2 life and deal 2 damage to your opponent. So first off, card destruction is great. At the beginning of each player's attack phase, maybe not the greatest timing, because of course your opponent still has main phase and all that stuff to set up, but still really strong. Unfortunately, you do have to be able to destroy a card to gain the life and deal 2 damage. So stuff like Astro Dragon's mobile aerial team, anything that is giving complete basically immunity to destruction on their entire field is gonna basically be shutting down Bladedancer. But I think it's definitely gonna be a really fun, and definitely want to build it myself for sure. So you've got Bladedancers, and where is the item? Here it is. So we've got EXCELBLADE, GODSLASH, KANESADA. So 1 life to equip. You cannot call monsters to your center, but you can move monsters to your center with the move ability or spells. This card on your field cannot be destroyed or returned to hand, and all Bladedancers on your field cannot be rezzed by bonus card effects with counterattack. And of course, it's got that 6,000 defense, meaning your opponent has to get over 6,000 power, 6,000 or more power to able to deal damage to you, with that 1 critical and 10,000 power. So first off, counterattack I want to talk about, because with the Ace era and with Buddyfight X, it brought a lot of decks and stuff that gives immunity. Sure, you might be able to chip some cards here and there, but a lot of the Ace decks have immunity, and that really hurts counterattack. Like you look at the 3 main character decks, Link Dragon Order, they have Jinsen. I can't say that name. I keep thinking there's an N for some reason. Jason. We've also got Astro Dragons. They've got their spell. And the new Astrologia coming up. We've also have Garga with their Garkris item, giving complete immunity to the item in Garga. So again, you are going to be able to hit back, and this card is definitely very strong, don't get me wrong. But it's kind of hard to play out how it's going to work. But we're really going to have to see more cards and wait how it is, but it's definitely a strong and really fun deck so far from what I've tested. Of course, we have the new Dragon card. So what is there really to say? It's a really strong deck. I mean, 1 gauge, 1 life is a little bit costly, but the fact that you always have that counteract to discard Ninja Arts in your hand, nullify the attack. Unfortunately, you can't discard a DD Dragon Tribe, not Dragod. I'm thinking of the dog. Anyways, if you have Dragon on your field, almost on your field, get 3,000 power and critical +1, so that's definitely really great ability, especially paired up with Garga's G Evolution. So I was talking about Nindog right here, who basically allows you to choose any number of Nindog from your deck and put into Gauge in hand. Again, that is going to be taking up space, and because he's not in Ninja Arts, you can't discard him. But for effects, or let's say God Punks is just getting you to discard all your hands, well then just drop some Nindogs from your deck then that you got from your hand into your hand. And of course, we have Ninbird. Ninbird's pretty bad. No one really cares about Ninbird, let's be honest. And of course, we also have this. Now, I was pretty salty, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw this set spell, because I was really hoping that with Ninja Arts and Deity Dragon Tribe, we get some solid ninja support as well. Unfortunately, this set spell only works for giving immunity to Deity Dragon Tribes, which kind of made me a bit upset with how the card came out. I really would have loved if it helped out ninjas as well. Definitely would have made Lethal Formation at least viable, but, you know, Bushiroad, thanks. I mean, I don't really know what to say. You can drop a Ninja Arts in your hand and pay 1 gauge, draw 2. That is very solid effect. Really great for using your abilities and just getting out basically more cards into your hand. And of course, you pair it up with the new drop spell that gives you gauge 2, which we'll have a look at in a second, which is right down here. Where'd it go? Never mind, it seems to have disappeared. I missed it, didn't I? Nope, it's right here. And of course, you also have Futon, which allows you to gauge and draw when it's discarded. So Again, really great, nice tech cards for ninja arts. Doesn't really help out ninjas, which really sucks. And especially the fact that this can't be used with ninjas either. But I mean, what can you really do? Like, I don't even know at this point. It really sucks, but not much you can really do. Of course, we got the pinnacle of I believe it's GODSPEED. I'm not too sure about that wording. If I butchered the name, I apologize. But you only basically can cast this card when you're being attacked if you have an equipped EXCELBLADE that's in stand position. 1 engagement, 1 life, nullify attack, then nullify the abilities of all cards that attack and destroy them. If the card's destroyed, deal 3 damage to your opponent. Now, this card is definitely really strong, can definitely hurt a lot of decks, but the problem with me is that, again, immunity. And not every deck is going to have immunity to destruction and nullify abilities, and that makes this impact really strong, especially 1 gauge, 1 life, again, nullify, and burn 3. But again, when you're up against, let's say, a deck like Astro Dragons, they're always going to be having that full immunity. Mobile Aerial Team, I guess you can... Electro D's can be hit pretty hard. What else is there? Folktale can be hit pretty hard, even though they do have that non-nullify abilities. But as long as you can pop, you're getting that 3 damage, so it's definitely a solid card. But again, going back to some of the really big meta decks, even Blood Dragons have an item that allow them to not be destroyed by card effects. So yeah, it's definitely a really strong deck. It's going to have its weaknesses, but I think it's a great card and really fun to use overall. It's kind of like Lethal Formation, but it's not. But Lethal Formation as a nullify, basically, or Secret Sword as a nullify. Anyways, of course, we got more EXCELBLADE. We got a searcher for an EXCELBLADE, so you can search for the impact or item, get that double attack and penetrate. We've also got this guy. When you attack, get that free gauge and draw, because who doesn't love gauge and draw? And of course, we got a lot more cards to cover as well. We've also got the secret pack right here. Honestly, a lot of these cards are just supposed to be chained effects with Dragod. Really nothing special, anything that stood out to me, except for maybe some of this, but I mean... DD Dragon Tribe just has so much draw power and stuff, like, who really cares? There's also this, I guess, you want to stand a Lost Vader, give it critical 5 penetrant attack. I mean, you can just play the impact, but hey, I guess if you get your hands on this, you want to play it and test it, sure, go ahead. But yeah, that's pretty much it from basically what we've gotten. I guess you guys basically already know what all the new DD Gargantua Punisher does. They've got this, which is pretty insane. They didn't show it in the anime, but basically you get to choose a Dragon monster field, stand all monster field with the same powers to the chosen card, and if you combo that with Garga's Evolution, which is Wind Demon Dragon apparently now, due to the English translation, you can basically get 3 crit monsters and just swing again with them with that spell, which is pretty crazy. So definitely Katana World's looking really fun and pretty strong so far from what we can see, and of course that double attack. And this one's also really great against Wall, this Evolution right here. So attack, deal 2, draw, and of course Shadow Dive. So say goodbye to Walls, they'll just be taken out immediately. So definitely cool to see that. And of course, we gotta talk about DD Dragon, no, not DD Dragon Tribe. We gotta talk about Lost World. Okay, before we go really quickly, DD Gargantua Punisher, you guys already know what it does. Fortunately, just want to point out that it's not really a generic card. It's not like Tempest Thunderlance that was used by like everyone in Dragon World because it was a solid 5 damage card. Again, you need that Dragod and that 12,000 power or greater. It really isn't that hard. But again, you need to have that Dragod, but 2 gauge 5 damage is pretty crazy. Anyways, let's talk about some Lost World monsters. Now, we got a lot of Dimension Dragons, but I don't really want to show all of them because that will take way too long. So let's start off with some Blood Dragons here. We've got their item. I mean, during the turn, this card field cannot be destroyed, and all Blood Dragons sacked monsters field get 2,000 power and defense. I forgot they were called something different from the translation. We've also got this card right here. Put into soul, draw, reduce damage dealt to you by 1. So Blood Dragons are basically the new Athora, but slightly better, basically. We've got this. Nullify Destruction, gain 2 life, so that's definitely a great card. The set list is up, and this is one of the cards in new Dimension, not Dimension Destroyer, that's set 2. Dimension Gate, which is going to be able to stand a chosen card and draw a card, definitely a very strong item. And of course, we've got these cards, and there's so much to cover, oh my goodness. Okay, let's talk about this first. Trials Egg, full gain. So 1 gauge top card deck, got those insane stats. The beginning of your attack phase, called Dimension Dragon for Johnson by paying it's called HUSK, Penetrate, and Soul Guard. Definitely a solid card, definitely a card you want for the deck, and really there isn't much else to say, just that you can keep calling back Dimension Dragons is really helpful. Now this card, this is the one that I think people were freaking out the most. We got Vanity, Husk Destroyer, the Skull, 30,000 power, 5 critical, 10,000 defense. This card in your field cannot be destroyed nor rest by opponent's card effects with 5 critical. So Yeah, again, it doesn't have penetrate, so keep that in mind. But when it attacks, you get to just nuke your opponent's field. Everything, just be gone, be lost, whatever you want to call it. It's just gone. Like, everything is destroyed. I definitely like the design for this card. I think it's really interesting and definitely a very strong card that you do not want your opponent to grab. But, I mean, what else is there really to say? Penetrate, it doesn't have penetrate, so you can definitely try and block that. I mean, there is a lot of immunity, but ace decks, you know, it's still kind of here and there. It's definitely a very strong effect. I guess the best you can do is try and rest it, or maybe, I don't think you really can nullify its call, except by Jackknife's Overturn. But, I mean, there really isn't much else you can do. It's just a really, really insane card. I'm trying to think what else you can really do, but I mean, if you can't rest it, maybe we'll get some more Drago Trap. Of course, there's always, I guess, Buddy Block, which can stop that damage, especially if it's late game, sorry, late in the attack phase. But I mean, there really isn't much else you can do to counter this card when it has that field immunity like that. But again, of course, you can nullify its abilities and just pop it, like, you know, it tries to attack, and then you can just go counter, boom, and just get rid of, what's it called, with the new Katana World Impact. So, hey, that's pretty nice that Lost Vaders can be nullified. Hopefully, they won't get the immunity set spell or whatever soon, but yeah, that's pretty insane. We've got this set spell from the trial deck. When you attack, pay a life if you do not nullify attack. It's honestly not that great, just because once you get out Lost World, you want to take out your opponent as fast as you can. I've seen some meme builds with this, and I think you could definitely experiment with it and make some fun stuff, but hey, I don't think it's anything too crazy to freak out over. If you got this, we've got Drago Energy, but creeped like to the power of like 10 to the exponent of 3. So you basically give 100,000 power and defense and counterattack. Just casual 100k stats. That's all. Nothing too insane. And of course, we also have this crazy spell. You only cast a card if you have 2 more lost your field. Gauge 2, gain 2 life, draw 2. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? It's just a really great resource card. You can check out a lot of the other Dimension Dragons out yourself. Here's something for Blood Dragons. They got the set spell for basically giving extra stuff, and their abilities can't be nullified, and their soul cannot be dropped, which makes them a lot stronger for sure. We've also got their item right here, so basically allows them to not be destroyed by card effects that we talked about earlier, and of course can attack and reduces more damage dealt to you by 1. So penetrate effect damage, nah, it's just gonna reduce it because Blood Dragons. Like, Blood Dragons are definitely going to be a very strong deck. They've got lots of resource gain. You've got this card that can stand. I mean, Bloody Eyes is crazy. 2 gauge, 3 soul, and if you can get the right setup, which you probably will with all this crazy stuff going on, you're definitely going to be able to get what you need. Anyways, going back, we've got some more Blood Dragons. Destroy card when you attack. Plus, you get gauge if you throw it into soul. Just really great card. 1 gauge nullify attack, destroy card that attacked. Again, it's limited to what attacked, but I mean, it's still a strong card. You got this card right here, which basically allows you to just drop a card of your opponent. So basically has the God Punk effect. I don't know. People just associate discarding cards with God Punks now because that's what they do. I mean, Blood Dragons basically do the same thing, but you know what? Whatever floats your boat. Anyways, we've also got more stuff. We saw this in the anime, and here's where we really got the big leaks for Blood Dragons and Lost World. This was like all the way back when I still didn't make a video on it. We've got this card right here. So put into hand, you get to draw a card. You give it extra critical +1 and penetrate. If your opponent can sack some of these into the soul, especially because you want to be running a good amount, so you get them into soul from Bloody Eyes. Call calls, I'm sure you've already seen it work in the anime. Of course, you know, open center Blood Dragons are great guys. But anyways, still, you can stack 3 of these. Just like that, you got a 4 crit double attacker with penetrate. I mean, that isn't absolutely going to kill you immediately, but it's definitely something to be scared of. Especially when you can stack several effects like that. So a really great, just, resource card for Blood Dragons. There really isn't much to say, or Dragon Blood Sect. Still not used to that, but we got the official translation from the anime today. And now, the cards that people are freaking out about that I want to talk about more. First off, this card. Basically, this is also from the Dimension, basically Special Series deck where you can get Lost World and Grandmaster deck. This card was in a lot of deck lists in Japan, and it's just a really good card. And just field nullify all abilities of card opponent's field and destroy it. I mean, there really isn't much to say. It's just a good card with that double attack and pretty good stats. This card, Call from Drop, I believe we already went over all of these, but critical +2, calling from drop, that's pretty nice. And of course, it doesn't even require to be a Lost Vader, so you can call whatever you need from drop. I don't know, called Brawl Zeus back, called God, I don't know. Dimension jamming, again, we talked about. Discard 2, it's insane. Definitely people want 4 in their deck, and something you should be scared of, because it's dimension jamming. What else is there? This card, the draw 3, discard 2. I don't think it's too great, but I mean, it's honestly up to you. This card, definitely crazy. 2 cards for drop zone, 1 gauge, get that penetrate, double attack, soul guard, counterattack. And yeah, I mean, I guess there's Cyclone, some other stuff, but I think we already basically went over everything I want to cover. There are these cards for those who haven't seen them. I believe I already talked about them in a previous video. I'm very sure I did, but there now. That sentence made no sense. But yeah, basically we've seen all these cards in action, and yeah, Dimension Livestream is just Dimension Livestream. It's not anything too special. But hey, I mean, a lot of these cards do look crazy, and we are getting to that kind of era. I don't know if you guys want to see this, but for those who are still here, if you'd like to see maybe some form of discussion about the meta or something along those lines, because I feel like people are really salty, or some people are freaking out saying, oh, I can't play this anymore, I can't do this Buddyfight game is now cancer, blah blah blah, whatever. That's kind of just how the game is now, and if you don't enjoy Buddyfight, then just don't play it. It's as simple as that. But if you are and you're still supporting it, well then, good job. Just keep playing the game and have fun with it. Don't let others influence you, and yeah, just have fun with the game. And yeah, I'm just gonna see if I can upload this and just see the length. What's the length? It's 21 minutes. That's a problem. Okay, well, see you guys later.